And we are with the man of the hour on NXT Stand and Deliver. He will be challenging the amazing Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship this weekend. None other than the spectacular Carmelo Hayes. How are you today, sir?
I'm so good, man. Thank you for having me on.
So, obviously, a huge match with one of the great superstars of NXT. I think a lot of people are saying this is kind of an NXT dream match between the two of you. How excited are you to get in the ring with Braun Breaker and put this show on for everybody?
I don't know if anyone's ever really excited to get in the ring with Braun Breaker, but more than anything, bro, I'm just ready. You know, I'm so prepared. Somebody asked me earlier if I was nervous. I said, no, not nervous, just ready.
Yeah, a lot of people have said about you, and every time your name comes up on our show, they just say, can't miss. This guy is going to be a future world champion someday. He's absolutely incredible in the ring. And when you hear things like that, what's your reaction?
It's flattering. It really is, but I never lose sight of the bigger picture, and I don't really let that get to my head because I know I need to focus on what's in front of me. So many people want to predict my future, but in reality, it's like the plate in front of me is so big and so full of food that I have to eat that before I can get to that point. So, I mean, it's great to have people, talk about me like that in high regards. But, I'm so focused on what I'm doing now that I don't let that, cloud my mind. I, take care of business right in front of me.
Well, when you head into a weekend like this here at WrestleMania, and you think back to those 7+ years grinding it out on the indies, what comes to mind?
Just the sacrifices, man. Like, just so many things. Like, and it's funny, until you really stop and reflect, you don't even think about it because sometimes you get so caught up in the whirlwind of it all. But when you stop and reflect, you're right, man. Like, I'm glad that you said that because, like, haven't done that yet because I've been so locked in on this match. But I think tomorrow's going to be that moment where I say, wow, man, everything I did to get here, everything I sacrificed to get to this point, it was all worth it. It really was. I'm seeing a lot of people I saw from back when I first started. I just talked to Graham over there, and he had actually interviewed me when I was brand new, like a couple months in, from Boston. So it's like wild that now this full circle. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, are we going to see you on the main roster coming up soon? Now I saw you grin when I said that. You got to be thinking about it a little bit. Obviously, taking care of business first, but you've got to feel like you're ready to roll.
So, I mean, if everything doesn't work my way with the NXT Championship, like, I think that is probably the next step, unless it's, we're in a rematch situation type of thing. But like I said, man, earlier, I got to focus on what's in front of me. You know what I mean? If I'm over here thinking about going on the main roster, and I've talked to Sean about this many times, what's the most important thing is the most important thing, and that's what's, like, in front of me right now. So we'll get there when we get there. It's not going anywhere, and I'm only going to be better when the time is right. Spend some more time down here. I'm only going to get better.
What's it like working with Shawn Michaels? I'm sure you've been asked that a million times, but working with a legend like that, what are some of the things that you've learned from him that you hadn't even thought about when you got to NXT?
I mean, he's just like, it's just a mastermind with it. Sometimes he'll say something casually, and it just carries so much weight, because he's experienced it. I said earlier with somebody, he's been through the highs, he's been through the lows, he's experienced everything there is to experience at the highest level of WWE, so it's like, when he speaks, it's gospel. When he speaks, you're listening because he might say something. If you're not paying attention, he might say something that might change your career. And that happens almost every time I talk to him. So, yeah, it's a great experience, and I've learned so much, so much.
What can we expect from this match? What's coming up?
I think a new NXT champion is coming up. I really do. And I think that this is a match that was built up over the last 18 months, even though we weren't in the ring together for those 18 months. I think it was just the rise of two stars for NXT. We made it through, all the ups and all the downs of the 2.0 era that, everybody wanted to see it fail. Everybody kind of was, NXT 2.0, but, at the end of it all, you were talking about two names. It was Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes. So I think that we're going to put on a good one for everybody. But on top of that, I think that, we're going to live up to the expectations of being the two guys.
Awesome. Carmelo, thanks for joining us. We really do appreciate it.